Hello, night listeners. Today I'm going to tell you why you could unsurvive even a single day in the Amazon rainforest. You've probably seen the Amazon in documentaries. Green, beautiful, full of life. And it really is full of life. More than almost anywhere else on Earth. You're woken from your sleep before dawn, but you don't actually know it. It's before dawn because the shade from the trees above is so thick that light doesn't work the way you were used to. There's no sign of the sun. Everything is dark. Just a transition from black to dark green. And the sounds change so quickly you can't even hear them. The sounds changed about an hour ago, actually. That's how you know something is different. The night insects went quiet, and then other things started clicking, calling, screaming further away. You're lying in a hammock that's damp. Everything is damp. Your shirt stuck to your back sometime in the night and you stopped noticing. You didn't sleep well. You kept waking up because of the weight of the air, because something landed on the mosquito net, because your hip hurt against the fabric. You'd shift, and then lie very still, listening. There were always things moving. Not close, usually. Just always mobbing. Now it's morning, probably. Your guide, whose name is something you can't quite pronounce correctly no matter how many times you try, is already awake. He was awake before the sounds changed. You don't know how he knew to wake up. He's folding a tarp that was over some of the supplies. Everything they bring into the forest gets covered, gets protected, gets checked. You sit up and your feet don't touch the ground. The hammock sways. This still feels strange, sleeping suspended. But the alternative is the ground. And the ground here is not really ground the way you think of it. It's wet and soft and full of things that bite or sting or burrow. So, hammock. You've been here 3 days now. Or is it for the days blend? You walked away from the river and into the forest and everything became the same. Green on green on green. Broken up by brown, by black mud, by sudden strange flowers that don't look like they should be real. Your boots are where you left them, hanging from a branch by their laces. This is important. You learned this the first night. You don't leave boots on the ground. You shake them out every single time before you put them on. Even though they were hanging up, because things climb. Everything here climbs, or flies, or drops from above. You shake the left boot. Nothing. You shake the right boot, and a spider the size of your palm hits the ground and sits there, not even running away. Just sitting there like you're the one who's rude. Your guy glances over, glances at the spider, goes back to folding the tarp. This is not interesting to him. The spider eventually walks away, slow. You put your boots on. They're still damp inside. They've been damp since the second day. You were told they would stay damp and you didn't really believe it. But they have. Damp and warm, and they smell like mildew and feet and rot, all mixed together. You lace them tight, because loose boots mean blisters, and blisters here don't stay simple. There's a cut on your hand from yesterday. Tiny thing. Barely a scratch from a leaf edge you brushed against. You've been watching it. It's red around the edges this morning. You show it to your guide, and he nods, and digs in his pack, and gives you a small tube of something and tells you to use it twice a day. Every day. No skipping. Everything here wants in. That's what you're starting to understand. The heat, the wet, the insects, the bacteria, the fungi. All of it presses against your skin, your clothes, your gear, looking for a way in. Breakfast is crackers that have gone soft. Some kind of dried meat. A banana from yesterday that's bruised but still good. You eat slowly because there's no reason not to. You drink water from a bottle that was purified twice. Once with tablets and once with a filter. Because the water here, even if it looks clear, is never just water. Your guide eats standing up, looking into the trees. Always looking. He chews and watches and listens, and you try to do the same, but you do want to know what you're looking for. He's seeing something. Reading something in the way the branches move or the birds call. You're just seeing green. After breakfast, there's the packing up, which takes longer than you'd think. Everything has to be checked, sealed, clipped properly. Your guide moves through this like a ceremony. He's done it 10,000 times. You try to help, but mostly you just hand him things. The plan today, he says, is to reach a stream, he knows. Maybe 2 hours from here, maybe 3. Time is strange in the forest. Distance doesn't mean what it should. 200 meters can take an hour if the undergrowth is thick. If you have to go around a fallen tree, if the ground is too soft, you start walking. Within 10 minutes, you're sweating. The air sits on you, thick and hot and wet. It doesn't move much under the canopy. You're breathing it in and it feels like it stays in your lungs. Heavy. You wipe your face, and 5 minutes later it's wet again. The forest floor is a mess of roots and vines and fallen leaves that are slippery when you step on them. You have to watch every step. Your guide moves easy, not fast but steady, his feet knowing where to land. You're behind him, trying to step where he steps. But even then you slip sometimes. Catch yourself on a tree trunk. Keep going. There are columns of ants crossing the path. Thick columns. Thousands of ants, all moving together in a line that's maybe 3 inches wide. Your guide steps over them carefully and you do the same. He told you on the first day, don't disturb the ants. Any ants, just step over, step around, let them go about their business. You stop to breathe after maybe 30 minutes. Your guide stops without comment. He's not even breathing hard. You lean against a tree and then step away quickly because the bark is covered in something. Some kind of sap or mold. And it's sticky. It's on your hand now. You wipe it on your pants. Your pants are already stained with mud and sap and things you can't identify. Everything here touches you. Leaves brush your arms. Vines catch on your pack. Spiderwebs stretch across the path and stick to your face. You're always wiping something away. Always pulling something off you. You're walking again. The stream your guide mentioned. The one that was 2 or 3 hours away. You're not there yet. You've been walking for a while now. Long enough that your legs have found a rhythm. And the sweating has become just a constant thing you don't think about anymore. The forest hasn't changed. It looks the same as it did an hour ago. The same as it did yesterday. Green walls on either side. The canopy is so thick above that you only get these little moments of actual sunlight. Thin beams that cut down through the leaves and light up the moisture in the air. Dust, spores, moisture. All of it just hanging there. Drifting. Your guide stops and holds up his hand. You. Stop. He's looking at something on a tree trunk, leaning close. It's a frog. Bright blue. Tiny. Sitting there like a jewel against the bark. He doesn't touch it. He points to it and says the name. Something in his language. And then says, poison. Very poison. Don't Tashi nod. You weren't going to touch it anyway. But now you definitely won't. The frog doesn't move. It just sits there, breathing. Its throat moving in and out. Beautiful and completely deadly. Your guide steps around the tree, giving it space, and you follow. This keeps happening. He'll see something and stop and tell you what it is, or more often what not to do with it. Don't touch this plant. Don't step there. It's a snake hole. Don't brush against that vine. It has spines too small to see, but you'll feel them for days. The forest is full of rules you don't know. You step again. This time, because there's a fallen tree blocking the path. It's massive, maybe 4 feet across, covered in moss and fungi and already rotting, even though it looks like it fell recently. Your guide walks along it, looking for a way around. You follow, and the ground near the tree is soft, your boots sinking in a little with each step. There's a smell here, sweet and rotten at the same time. Decomposition. The tree is being eaten by the forest. Taken apart by insects and bacteria and fungi. Turned back into soil. It's happening fast. Everything happens fast here. Growth. Decay. All of it sped up by the heat and the wet. You climb over the trunk, your guide helping pull you up on the other side. Your hands touch the bark and it's soft. Crumbling. Full of tunnels and holes. When you re-over, you look at your palms, and they re-covered in fine brown dust and bits of wood. You wipe them on your pants again. The ground on the other side is worse. Muddy. Standing water in places. Your guide moves through it carefully, testing each step before putting his weight down. You do the same. Once, your boot sinks in almost to the ankle, and when you pull it out, there is a sucking sound and the smell of old wet earth. You keep walking. Time feels strange. You've been moving for what feels like hours, but when you check your watch, it has only been 40 minutes since the last break. The forest does this. It stretches time out. makes everything feel longer. Or maybe it's just that every step takes so much attention, so much effort that your brain counts it differently. You're thirsty, but you don't drink yet. Your God told you to rasen, to sip, not gulp. The water you brought has to last until you reach the stream, and the stream might be close or might be far. He doesn't seem worried, so you try not to be worried. But your mouth is dry and your tongue feels thick. There's a sound ahead. Running water, maybe. Your guide hears it too. You can tell by the way he tilts his head. He changes direction slightly, angling toward it. The ground starts to slope down. Who's a little, and the mud gets worse. You're walking through a low area now, where water has pooled and drained and pooled again. The trees here are different. Their roots sticking up out of the ground like knees, like they're trying to keep their feet dry. You step between them, holding onto trunks when you need to. Your boots making soft squelching sounds. The sound of water gets louder. And then you see it. A stream, narrow, maybe 6 feet across, moving fast over rocks and fallen branches. The water is brown, stained with tannins from all the leaves, but it's clear brown. You can see the bottom. Your guide kneels down next to it and cups his hand in and drinks. Just a sip, testing. Then he nods and starts filling bottles. You kneel next to him and the ground is soft and wet and immediately soaks through the knees of your pants. You don't care. You're just glad to stop moving. The water's cool, cooler than the air. Cooler than anything has been since you got here. Your guide fills the bottles and adds the purification tablets and sets them aside to wait. You splash some water on your face and it feels incredible for about 10 seconds. And then you're sweating again and it's like it never happened. You sit back on a rock and just breathe. The forest is loud here. The water covers some of the other sounds, but not all of them. There are birds calling, insects buzzing, something rustling in the undergrowth. On the other side of the stream, your guide is calm, so you try to be calm, but every sound makes you look. He pulls out food, Mori crackers, some kind of paste in a container, a mango that's getting soft. You eat without talking. The mango is warm and overripe and incredibly sweet. Juice runs down your chin and you wipe it away with the back of your hand. After eating, your guide says you'll rest here for a bit. 20 minutes, maybe 30. He says it's good to rest in the middle of the day when the heat is worst. You're not arguing. You lean back against a tree, careful to check it first for ants or spines or sap. It seems okay. The bark is rough against your back through your shirt. You close your eyes, just for a moment. The sounds wash over you. Water, birds, insects, the occasional crack of a branch somewhere far off. It's never quiet even at night. It's never quiet. There's always something moving, always something calling or hunting or eating or dying. You think about the people who live here, who have always lived here. Your guides, people, and others. Communities deep in the forest that you'll never see. How do they do it? How do they walk through this every day? How do they know what to eat and what'll kill them? How do they sleep soundly with all these sounds? Your guide is checking the water bottles, shaking them gently. The tablets are dissolving. A few more minutes, and they'll be safe to drink. Safe being relative. The tablets kill most things. The filter catches more, but there are always things that get through. Parasites, bacteria, little passengers that want to live in your gut. You were told to expect some digestive issues. Everyone gets them. It's just part of being here. You open your eyes and watch the stream. There's a leaf floating down it, spinning slowly in the current, catching on rocks and then pulling free and continuing. It moves past you and around a bend and disappears. Your guide stands up, and you know that means it's time to move again. You stand too, your knees stiff, your back tight. 20 minutes of sitting and your body has already started to stiffen up. You stretch a little, roll your shoulders. Your shirt is stuck to you again, damp with sweat and humidity and the splash from the stream. The water bottles go back in the pack. Your guide hands you one to carry and you clip it to your belt. The weight is familiar now, comforting even. Water means you can keep going. You start walking upstream, following the water. This is easier than cutting through the forest. The ground near the stream is more open, less undergrowth, because the big trees keep the light out and the smaller plants can't grow as thick. You can actually see more than 10 feet ahead, which feels like a luxury. The stream curves and you curve with it. The water is pretty, in its way. Brown but clear, moving over smooth stones that are covered in algae, in tiny plants you don't have names for. Every now and then you see a fish, quick shadow darting between rocks. Small fish, nothing dramatic. Your guide says people fish here sometimes, but you need to know which ones are safe to eat, and which ones carry parasites that will make you sick for weeks. You step over a log that's half in the water, half out. It's covered in mushrooms, white and orange and brown, growing in thick clusters. Some of them are bigger than your fist. Your guide sees you looking and says, "Don't eat." You weren't planning to, but it's good to know. The forest presses in on both sides of the stream. You can hear things in there, moving parallel to you maybe, or just living their lives, not caring that you're passing through. A bird calls, loud and harsh, and another one answers from somewhere behind you. The calls go back and forth for a minute and then stop. You've been walking for maybe half an hour when your guide stops and points across the stream. You look, but you don't see anything at first. Just trees, vines, shadows. Then something moves and you see it. A monkey, small, dark fur, sitting on a branch maybe 20 feet up. It's watching you. Its eyes are very bright. Your guide makes a soft sound, not quite a whistle. The monkey tilts its head, then it's gone, jumping to another branch and disappearing into the canopy so fast you almost think you imagined it. But you didn't. It was there, and now it's not, and the forest has swallowed it completely. You keep walking. The stream gets narrower, rockier. The sound of the water changes, gets louder, more urgent. You're climbing a little now. The ground's sloping up, and your legs are starting to feel it. Your guide doesn't slow down. He just keeps that same steady pace, stepping from rock to rock, balancing easy. You're not as graceful. You slip on, say. Catch yourself with your hand on a whetstone. Keep going. Your palm stings a little. You look and there's a scrape. Nothing serious, just the top layer of skin gone. You'll clean it later. Add it to the list of small wounds that you're collecting. The cut on your arm from yesterday's still red. You've been putting the cream on it like you were told, but it doesn't look better. It doesn't look worse either, which you're taking as a win. Infection is always there, waiting. You were told that before you came here. Infections happen fast in the rainforest. A scratch becomes a problem, becomes a serious problem, sometimes in just a day or two. So you watch the cuts. You keep them clean. You use the cream. Your guide stops at a place where the stream splits around a large rock. He looks both ways, seems to consider, then chooses the left path. You follow. You have no idea why left is better than right, but he knows and you don't. So left it is. The trees are taller here, older maybe. Their trunks are massive, stretching up and up until they disappear into the canopy. The roots spread out from the base like buttresses, like walls. Some of them are taller than you are. You walk between them, feeling very small. There's a different quality to the light here. Greener, dimmer. The canopy is so thick that almost nothing gets through. It feels ancient. It feels like a place humans don't belong. But humans do live here. I've lived here for thousands of years. Your guide's ancestors. Their ancestors. All the way back. They knew these trees. Walked these paths. Drank from these streams. It's you who doesn't belong. You're the visitor, the intruder, the one who doesn't know the rules. You hear something large moving in the distance. Heavy footsteps, branches breaking. Your guide hears it too. He stops, listens. Then he relaxes slightly and keeps walking. Whatever it is, it's not a threat, or it's far enough away that it doesn't matter. You wanted to ask what it was, but you don't. You're learning to just accept that there are things you won't see, won't understand. The forest is full of them. The ground is getting softer again, muddier. Your boots sink in with each step and pull out with effort. It's exhausting, this constant fight with the ground. Nothing is ever solid. Nothing is ever dry. Your guide stops and kneels down, looking at something in the mud. Tracked. You can see them now that he's pointing. Three-toed prints, deep, leading off into the undergrowth. He says the word for the animal, but you don't recognize it. He makes a gesture with his hands, showing the size. Big. Whatever it was big. The tracks are fresh. The edges haven't collapsed yet, haven't filled with water. Maybe an hour old, maybe less. Your guide stands, and you keep walking. But now you're more alert, more aware. Something big was here recently. Big enough to leave tracks that deep. The stream curves again, and the forest opens up just a little. There's a tree that's fallen and taken a gap in the canopy with it, and actual sunlight is coming through. Strong and bright. It lights up a section of the forest floor, and you can see plants growing there that you haven't seen elsewhere. Flowers, red and yellow, and vines with leaves as big as dinner plates. It's beautiful. Strange and alien, but beautiful. Your guide walks through the sunny patch without pausing. You follow, and the heat of the direct sun is intense, like stepping into an oven. You're through it in seconds and back into the shade, and it's almost cool by comparison. Almost. You're still sweating, still breathing hard, still putting one foot in front of the other because that's all there is to do. The stream is getting smaller now, shallower. Sometimes it disappears completely under rocks, and you can just hear it running underneath. And then it comes back out a few meters later. Your guide seems to know exactly where it goes. He doesn't hesitate. You check your watch. It's early afternoon, you think. Time is still strange, but the light has that quality. That heavy, thick quality of midday in the tropics. The hottest part of the day. Your guide says you'll stop soon. Find a place to rest through the worst of the heat. Then keep going in the late afternoon when it's more bearable. More bearable. That's a relative term here. You keep walking, watching for the place he'll choose, watching the ground, watching for snakes and ants and holes and mud. Always watching. The forest demands it. The place your guide chooses to stop is not much different from anywhere else you've been, but he seems satisfied with it. There's a slight rise in the ground, just enough that water won't pool here if it rains. And it will rain. It rains every day, sometimes twice. The trees are thick overhead, good cover. There's a fallen log that's relatively dry, or dri woog. He tests it with his hand, checking for ants, for anything that might object to you sitting there. It's clear. You drop your pack and sit down heavily. Your legs are shaking a little, that deep muscle tiredness that comes from hours of uneven ground. You've been walking for most of the day with only short breaks, and your body is letting you know it's done. Your guide is already setting up a small tarp, stringing it between trees to create more shade, more protection. He moves efficiently, no wasted motion. You should probably help, but you're just sitting, breathing, letting your heart rate come down. The forest is loud here too. There's a bird somewhere above, making a sound like rusty machinery, over and over, creaking and clicking. You wonder if it's a mating call, a warning, or just the sound it makes, because that's what its species does. You'll never know. Your guide finishes with a tarp and sits down near you. He pulls out food again. You're always eating small amounts, constantly refueling. He hands you something wrapped in leaves. You unwrap it carefully. It's some kind of sticky rice with bits of fish in it. It's warm, which seems impossible, but somehow it is. He must have packed it this morning. You eat slowly. The rice is good, filling. The fish is salty and strong. You wash it down with water from your bottle, taking small sips like you were taught. After eating, your guide leans back against a tree and closes his eyes. Not sleeping, just resting. You do the same. Close your eyes and listen. The sounds layer over each other. Insects, always insects. A constant buzz and hum and chirp that never stops. Birds calling. Things dripping, water finding its way down from leaves to ground. The forest is never still, never silent. You think about the night to come. You'll set up hammocks again, string up the mosquito nets, eat something cold, because fires are difficult here and often not worth the effort. Then you'll lie in the dark and listen to everything moving around you and try to sleep. You've been doing this for days now, and you're not used to it. You wonder if you ever would get used to it, or if every night would still feel like this. Alert, aware, never fully relaxed. Your guide opens his eyes and looks at you. He asks if you're okay. You nod. You are okay, more or less. Tired, sore, covered in bug bites and scratches and mud, but okay. He nods back. He says that most people who come here, they don't last long. They head sick, or scared, or they realize that the forest is not what they thought it would be. Too hot. Too hot. Too full of things that bite. You ask him how long he's been doing this, guiding people into the forest. He thinks for a moment. 10 years. Maybe more. He lost count. Before that, he just lived here. Moved through the forest for his own reasons. Hunting, gathering, visiting family and other settlements. The forest is his home. It's not dangerous to him the way it is to you. He knows it. Respects it. You ask if he ever gets tired of it. He smiles a little. Sometimes, he says, but where would he go? The city feels wrong to him. Too loud, too many people, too much concrete. Here, he knows what to expect. The forest has rules, and if you follow them, you're mostly safe. Mostly he tells you a story, slow and quiet, about a time he was walking alone and came across a jaguar. Just appeared on the path ahead of him, big and golden and staring. He stopped. The jaguar stopped. They looked at each other for a long moment, and then the jaguar turned and walked into the forest and disappeared. He says he felt afraid, of course. Jaguars are dangerous, but also, he felt lucky. Most people never see one. They're rare, secretive. The fact that it showed itself to him, that felt like something. A gift, maybe. You ask if he thinks you'll see one. He shrugs. Maybe. Probably not. They don't like people much. They avoid us if they can. The conversation fades, and you sit in comfortable silence. Your guide seems content to just be still, to let the afternoon pass. You try to do the same, but your mind keeps moving, keeps cataloging all the small discomforts, the itching from bug bites, the dampness of your clothes, the soreness in your shoulders from the pack straps. You shift position on the log and something bites you. Sharp, immediate pain on your thigh. You slap at it, and a large ant falls off. Angry, mandibles still working. There's a red welt already forming where it bit you. Your guide glances over, sees the ant, sees your leg. He says, "Fire ant. It will hurt for a while. Nothing to do but wait." He's right. It hurts. A burning, throbbing pain that's way out of proportion to the size of the ant. You press your thumb against it, and that somehow makes it worse and better at the same time. This is life here. Constant, small attacks. Bites, stings, scratches, infections waiting to happen. Your body is under siege, and all you can do is try to stay ahead of it. Try to keep everything clean and treated and manageable. You pull out the tube of antibiotic cream and put some on the ant bite, even though you know it. Whoa. Wouldn't help much. It just feels like doing something. The afternoon stretches out. The heat doesn't really lessen, just shifts slightly. The quality of light changes, gets a little more golden, a little less harsh. Your guide is dozing now, or meditating, or just being still in a way you haven't mastered. You try to rest, but your mind won't settle. You keep thinking about home, about dry clothes and solid ground and silence. Real silence, not this constant noise of the forest. You think about a cold drink, ice in a glass, condensation on the outside, simple things that feel impossibly far away. A raindrop hits your arm, then another. Then it's raining, sudden and hard, the way it does here. No warning, just the sky opening up and dumping water. Your guide doesn't move. The top is doing its job, keeping most of the rain off. You scoot closer to the center where it's drier. The rain is loud, hammering on the leaves above, on the tarp, on the ground. It drowns out everything else, and then, maybe 10 minutes later, it stops who's like that. The rain ends, and the dripping begins. Water falling from every leaf, every branch. It would drip for hours. Your guide opens his eyes and stretches. He says it's time to start moving again. Find a good place for the night before it gets dark. You stand up your muscles. Protesting, you're stiff from sitting. You hoist your pack onto your back, and the straps dig into your shoulders right where they've been digging all day. And you start walking again. The forest after rain is different. Everything is wetter, obviously, but it's more than that. The colors are deeper. The greens are almost black in places. The smell is stronger. Earth and rot and growing things all mixed together. And the sounds have changed. Mori dripping, less insect noise for a while. Like they're waiting for things to dry out a little before they start up again. You're walking through standing water now. Unavoidable. Every low spot has become a puddle. A pool. Your boots are completely soaked through. You stopped trying to avoid the water about an hour ago. There's no point. Wet is just the baseline state of everything here. Your guide is looking for something. You can tell by the way he's moving. Slower, more deliberate. His eyes scanning the trees, the ground, looking for the right place. He stops at a spot where 3 large trees form a rough triangle. The ground between them is slightly elevated, and the canopy overhead is particularly thick. He nods to himself. This will work. You set your pack down and immediately your shoulders feel lighter, like you could float away. You roll. Them trying to work out the soreness. There will be bruises there tomorrow. There are already bruises from yesterday. Your guide is pulling out the hammocks, the mosquito nets, the rope. You help this time. You know the routine now. String the rope between 2 trees. Hang the hammock. Attach the net. It takes maybe 15 minutes to set everything up. When you're done, both hammocks are hanging. They're like cocoons, swaying slightly. Your guide tests his, pulling on it to make sure the knots are solid. Then he tests yours. He's always careful about this. A hammock coming down in the middle of the night is more than just inconvenient. It's dangerous. The light is fading now. Not dark yet, but getting there. That strange green twilight that happens under the canopy. The birds are making evening sounds, different from the morning ones. Lower, more settled. Your guide starts preparing dinner. This means pulling out packages of dried food, adding water from the bottles, waiting for everything to rehydrate. It's not exciting food. Bland, practical, designed to keep you going. You eat it anyway because your body needs the fuel. While the food is sitting, absorbing water, your guide makes a small fire. It takes him a while. Everything is wet, but he finds dry tinder somehow, scraped from the inside of a dead branch, and he gets a tiny flame going. It's not much of a fire, more like a suggestion of fire, but it's enough to boil a little water for tea. The tea is bitter and herbal. You don't know what plant it's made from. Your guide says it helps with digestion, helps your body process all the strangeness it's taking in. You drink it slowly. It's hot, and that feels good, even though the air is still warm. Dinner is rice and beans, rehydrated, mixed with some kind of dried vegetable. It's mushy and tastes like very little, but you eat all of it. Your guide eats his portion in silence, looking into the small fire. After eating, he carefully puts out the fire, pours water on it, stirs the ashes, pours more water. Fire is serious here. The forest is wet, but it can still burn, especially in the dry season. And this is the dry season, or what passes for dry. The darkness comes quickly once it starts. The green twilight becomes gray, becomes black. Your guide turns on a small headlamp. Red light to preserve night vision. You do the same. In the red glow, the forest looks different. Alien. The shadows are deeper, the shape stranger. You can see eyes reflecting back at you from the darkness. Small eyes, probably insects or spiders, but they glow like little stars. Your guide says it's time to sleep, or try to. He climbs into his hammock with practiced ease, arranges the mosquito net, settles in. You can hear him shifting, getting comfortable, and then he's still. You climb into your hammock, less gracefully. It sways and twists, and you have to work to get settled. The mosquito net is tucked in all around, checked twice to make sure there are no gaps. A single gap means mosquitoes, and mosquitoes here can carry malaria, dengue, yellow fever, all kinds of things you don't want. You lie there, suspended in the darkness, listening. The night sounds are starting up. Different insects, different calls. Something howls in the distance, long and mournful. Your guide said it's a type of monkey, howler monkeys. They make that sound. It doesn't sound like any monkey you've ever heard. It sounds prehistoric. You try to relax, but your body won't cooperate. Every muscle is tense, waiting. For what? You're not sure. Just waiting. The hammock is actually more comfortable than you expected once you stop fighting it. Once you let it hold you, It's okay. Your back doesn't hurt the way it would on the ground. You're suspended, cradled, but you're still aware of everything. The sounds, the heat, the feeling of the net against your face when you turn your head. The knowledge that there are things out there, moving around, hunting, being hunted. You hear something land on the outside of your net. Soft impact, tiny weight. A moth, maybe. Or a beetle. It walks across the fabric and you can track its progress by the sound. Then it flies away. Time passes. You don't know how much. Could be 20 minutes. Could be 2 hours. You keep almost falling asleep and then jerking awake at some sound. Your guide is breathing slow and steady. He's asleep. Or resting so deeply it might as well be sleep. You envy that. The ability to just let go. To trust that the forest will leave you alone for the night. You try to breathe like he's breathing. Slow in, slow out. Let the tension go. Let the sounds become background. Let sleep come. And eventually, in pieces, it does. You drift off, and wake up, and drift off again. Your dreams are confused, full of green and movement and sounds you can't identify. At some point it rains again, and you wake to the sound of it hammering down. But the hammock stays dry. The net stays intact. And after a while, you slip back under. When you wake up again, it's because the sounds have changed. The night insects are going quiet. The birds are starting. It's almost morning. Your body aches. Your neck is stiff. Your shoulders are sore. But you made it through another night. You lie there, not quite ready to move yet, listening to the forest wake up around you. The afternoon becomes a blur of green and heat, and one step after another. You're not really thinking anymore, not in any clear way. Just walking, watching where your guide steps, and trying to step there too. Avoiding roots and holes and mud, keeping your balance. Your mind has gone quiet, too tired to think about home, too tired to worry about what might be watching from the shadows. Just the immediate task of moving forward. Your guide stops, and you almost walk into him. He's looking at something on the ground. Tracks again, but different from before. These are long, dragged marks in the mud. A tail, he says. Cayman, probably. Went through here recently, heading toward water. You look around, but you don't see water. Your guide says there's a pond nearby. Small, seasonal. It dries up completely sometimes, but right now it should have water. He asks, if you want to see it? You nod. Why not? Everything is the same anyway. Might as well see a pond. You follow him, angling off the path you were on. The ground gets softer, wetter. The trees change, shorter and more spread out. And then you see it. A pond, maybe 40 feet across. Dark water, perfectly still. The surface is covered with floating plants, green lily pads, small white flowers. It looks peaceful, pretty, even. Your guide says don't go near the edge. Caimans rest in the shallows. You won't see them until you're right on top of them. You stay well back. There are birds at the far side of the pond, white egrets, standing in the water on sticks and legs, completely motionless, waiting for fish, probably. You watch one for a full minute, and it doesn't move at all. Then, sudden as a blink, it strikes. Its head goes into the water and comes back up with something silver and wriggling. The bird tips its head back and swallows. The other egrets don't react. They just keep standing there, waiting their turn. Your guide is filling water bottles from the pond, using a filter. The water looks murky, but the filter is good, he says. Removes everything down to 0.1 microns. Bacteria, parasites. Most of them anyway. You help him pump the filter. It's slow work. The water goes in brown and comes out clear. You fill 3 bottles, and that's enough. While you're there, something surfaces in the middle of the pond. Just a snout and 2 eyes, barely breaking the water. A caiman, watching you. It doesn't move, doesn't come closer, just watches. Your guide sees it too. He says it's small, maybe 4 feet long. Not dangerous unless you're stupid. You have no plans to be stupid. The caiman sinks back down without a ripple. The pond looks empty again, but you know it's not. There are things under that surface. Fish, caimans, Eels maybe. Turtles. A whole hidden world. Your guide says it's time to go. You've been still too long and the mosquitoes are finding you. You can feel them landing on your arms, your neck. You slap at one and slap at another and get it a small smear of blood on your palm. Your blood. You walk away from the pond, back into the thicker forest. The mosquitoes don't follow. They stay near the water. The afternoon light is starting to change, getting lower, more golden. You've been walking for hours. Your legs are numb now, just going through the motions. Left foot, right foot, don't trip, don't fall. Your guide finds another place to rest. A fallen log, relatively dry. You sit, and he sits, and you both just exist for a while without speaking. You can hear the forest settling into evening, the daybirds quieting down, the nightbirds starting to warm up, the insects changing shifts. It happens gradually, this transition from day to night. But it happens. Your guide pulls out the last of the protein bars. He splits one with you. It's stale and the chocolate coating has melted and rehardened into a weird texture. But it's calories. You eat it. He says you'll camp soon. Maybe another hour of walking. Find a good spot before it gets dark. You nod. Another hour. You can do another hour. You stand up and your knees crack. Everything hurts in a dull, distant way. Blisters on your feet. Sore muscles. The ant bite from earlier, still throbbing. You've stopped, cataloging the discomfort. It's just background noise now. You walk. The forest darkens around you. The green becomes gray. The gray becomes darker gray. Your guide turns on his headlamp, the red light cutting through the gloom. You turn on yours. In the red light, everything looks flat. Distances are hard to judge. You stay close to your guide, following the circle of his light. He stops at a place that looks like every other place, but he seems satisfied. This is it. This is where you'll sleep tonight. You drop your pack and the relief is immediate. Your shoulders feel like they might float away. You stand there for a moment, just feeling the absence of weight. Your guide is already setting up. Hammocks, nets, the routine. You help your hands, moving through the motions without much thought. Tie the knots, test the tension, hang the hammock. When it's done, you both just stand there for a moment. The forest is loud with night sounds now. Frogs croaking, insects singing, something screaming in the distance. The same symphony you've been hearing every night, but it never gets less strange. Your guide says there's no food left except some rice. You'll cook it, eat it plain, and tomorrow you'll need to forage more seriously. You nod. Rice sounds fine. Anything sounds fine. He sets up the small stove and boils water and adds the rice, and you wait. The smell of it cooking makes your stomach wake up. You're hungrier than you thought. When it's ready, he divides it between two containers. You eat with a spork, the rice plain and sticky, and exactly what you need. After eating, you rinse the containers with a little water. Everything gets packed away. The stove gets turned off and cooled and packed. The darkness is complete now. Without the headlamps, you wouldn't be able to see your own hand in front of your face. Your guide says goodnight and climbs into his hammock. You say goodnight back and climb into yours. You lie there, suspended in the darkness, listening to everything you can't see. Tomorrow, you'll wake up and do it all again. Walk, sweat, forage, survive. But for now, you're still. Finally, still. And slowly, eventually, sleep comes. You wake up in the middle of the night. There's no reason for it that you can tell. No loud sound, no animal nearby. Just suddenly awake, heart beating a little faster than it should be. You lie there in the hammock, listening. The forest is never silent, but right now it's quieter than usual. The frogs have stopped. The insects are muted. There's just the sound of water dripping, steady and rhythmic, falling from leaf to ground. You shift slightly and the hammock creaks. The sound feels too loud in the quiet. Your guide is breathing slow and even still asleep. Whatever woke you didn't wake him. You try to settle back down, but your mind won't cooperate. It's running through things, cataloging discomforts. The way your lower back aches, the itching from half a dozen bug bites. The damp fabric of the hammock against your skin. You think about the people who live here permanently, the indigenous communities deep in the forest. They don't have hammocks from a camping store. They weave their own from plant fibers. They don't have water filters or first aid kits or satellite phones for emergencies. They just know the forest. Know it so well that it's not dangerous anymore, or dangerous in predictable ways. They know which plants heal and which ones kill. They know where the good hunting is, where the fish gather, when the rains will come. You know, almost nothing. You're completely dependent on your guide, on the gear you brought, on luck. The thought should be frightening, but you're too tired for fear. It's just a fact. You re out of your depth and you know it, and there rests nothing to do but keep going. A sound breaks the quiet, something moving through the canopy above. Branches swaying, leaves rustling. Could be a monkey, could be something else. The movement passes overhead and fades into the distance. The frogs start up again, tentative at first, then louder. Whatever made them go quiet is gone now. You close your eyes and try to find sleep again. It takes a long time, but eventually you drift off. And when you wake again, it's to the familiar sounds of morning. Birds calling, insects warming up, your guide already moving around. You climb out of the hammock slower today. Your body is stiff, protesting. You've been doing this for almost a week now, and instead of getting easier, it's getting harder. The accumulated fatigue, the small injuries, the constant assault of heat and humidity. Your boots are damp. Of course they are. You shake them out and put them on and stand up, and your legs feel weak, shaky. You need food. Real food, not just rice and foraged leaves. Your guide sees the look on your face. He says, "Today you'll hunt. Set some snares, maybe catch fish. If you find a good spot, you need protein." The idea of fresh meat makes your mouth water even though you know it. Whoa. It'll be fresh the way you think of fresh. It'll be cut and cleaned and cooked over a fire, and it'll taste like smoke and char, and it'll be the best thing you've eaten in days. But first, walking. Always walking. You pack up the camp and shoulder your pack, and the weight feels heavier today. Everything feels heavier. Your guide sets off, and you follow, falling into the rhythm. Step, step. Watch the ground. Don't trip. Keep moving. The morning is overcast. The light is flat and gray, filtered through clouds you can't see. It feels like rain is coming, but it always feels like rain is coming. You walk for maybe an hour before your guide stops at a spot where animal tracks cross the path. Ake kneels down, examining them. Small hoof prints. Deer, maybe. Or something like deer. He looks at the surrounding vegetation, looking for something. He finds a game trail, narrow and winding through the undergrowth. He says he'll set snares here. You watch as he pulls thin wire from his pack and fashions a loop, attaches it to a bent sapling, sets the trigger carefully. It's a simple mechanism, but effective. An animal comes down the trail, steps in the loop. The sapling springs up and pulls the loop tight. Quick, usually humane, as much as trapping can be. He sets 3 more snares along the trail, spacing them out. Then he marks the spot in his mind somehow. Some landmark only he can read, so he can find them again tomorrow. You keep walking. Mid-morning, you reach a stream, different from the one before, wider and faster. Your guide says there might be fish here. He pulls out a small fishing line, just monofilament, wrapped around a piece of wood, with a hook and a weight. For bait, he finds grubs under a piece of rotting bark. Fat, white grubs that curl up when exposed to light. He threads one onto the hook and casts the line into a pool where the current slows. You sit on a rock and wait. Fishing here is like fishing anywhere, mostly waiting. Watching the line, watching the water. The forest continuing around you, indifferent. After maybe 20 minutes, the line jerks. Your guide pulls it in. Ando berand, and there's a fish. Not big, maybe the length of your hand. Silver and scaled. He brings it in and kills it quickly. A knock against a rock, the fish goes still. He baits the hook again and casts again. By noon, he's caught for fish. Small but enough. Protein. Fat. Things your body is craving. He guts them right there by the stream. quick, efficient cuts, and washes them in the current. The guts go into the water and are carried away. Something downstream will eat them. The fish go into a container in his pack. You rest by this stream, eating some of the foraged greens from yesterday. They're wilted now, less bitter. You wash them down with water. Your guide says you'll cook the fish tonight. Make a proper fire. Take the time to do it right. The thought keeps you going as you stand up and start walking again. The afternoon is hot and still. No breeze, no relief. Just thick air that you have to push through. You're moving slower now. Your guide has noticed, but he doesn't say anything. He just adjusts his pace to match yours. You stop more frequently, rest more, drink more water. At one point you sit down and don't want to get back up. Your legs are done. Your feet are screaming. Everything hurts. Your guide sits next to you. He doesn't rush you. Hoost waits after a while. He says that the forest is hard. Always has been. His people have lived here for generations, and it's still hard. But it gives back what you put in. You respect it. You learn from it. It provides. You nod. You're not sure you believe him, but you appreciate the sentiment. You stand up eventually, because there's no choice. You can't stay here. You have to keep moving. And you do. The place your guide chooses for camp that night is near the stream. Close enough that you can hear the water, but far enough back that the ground is drier. He sets up the hammocks while you gather wood for the fire. This takes longer than you'd think. Most of the wood on the ground is too wet, too rotten. You have to look for dead branches that are still attached to trees, still off the ground. Break them off, test them, keep the ones that might actually burn. Your arms are tired by the time you have enough. You pile it near where your guide has cleared a spot for the fire, scraping away leaves and wet debris down to bare earth. He builds the fire carefully. Small, dry stuff first. Twigs and bark shavings. Then progressively larger pieces. He lights it with a waterproof match and it catches. Hesitant at first, 10 stronger. The smoke rises and hangs in the still air. It smells like wet wood and char. While the fire builds, your guide prepares the fish. He's made a simple grill from green branches, lashed together with vine. The fish go on the grill, laid out carefully. The fire has burned down to coals now, hot and even. He sets the grill over them. The smell of cooking fish fills the air and your stomach clenches with hunger. Real hunger, not just the background emptiness you've been carrying for days. The fish cooks slowly, the skin crisping and splitting. Fat drips into the coals and flares up, little bursts of flame. Your guide turns them carefully, making sure they cook through. When they're done, he lifts the grill off and lets the fish cool for a moment. Then he hands you 2 of them, keeping 2 for himself. You eat with your fingers, pulling the flesh away from the bones. It's hot and you burn your mouth a little, but you don't care. The fish is smoky and slightly bitter and absolutely perfect. The best thing you've tasted in a week. You eat slowly, savoring every bite, picking the bones clean, even eating the crispy skin. When you're done, you lick your fingers and sit back, feeling more satisfied than you have in days. Your guide is eating his fish at the same pace. Methodical and thorough. Nothing wasted. The fire crackles and pops. The light from it pushes back the darkness a little, creates a bubble of warmth and visibility. Beyond the firelight, the forest is a wall of black. After eating, your guide throws the fish bones into the fire. They blacken and curl and eventually disappear into ash. He says tomorrow you'll check the snares, see if anything was caught. Then you'll start heading back toward the river. You've been out long enough time to the idea of the river, of eventually getting back to something like civilization, feels distant and abstract. You've been in the forest so long now that this feels normal. The green, the wet, the constant discomfort. This is just life now. But you nod. Yes, going back sounds good. You sit by the fire a while longer, feeding it small pieces of wood, keeping it going. The warmth feels good, even though the air is still hot. There's something comforting about fire. Even here, even in the jungle. Your guide tells you about the first time he went deep into the forest alone. It was young, maybe 15. His father had died, and there was a tradition that boys became men by spending time alone in the forest, proving they could survive. He was out for 2 weeks, Hunted, fished, foraged, slept in trees when he had to, on the ground when he felt safe enough. Saw a jaguar once, from a distance. Saw snakes, spiders, all the dangerous things. But he learned to read the forest, to move through it, to take what he needed without taking too much. When he came back to his village, he was different. Quieter, more confident. The forest had taught him things that couldn't be taught any other way. You asked if he was afraid. He thinks about it. Yes, he says. Afraid sometimes. But also alive. More alive than he'd ever felt. Every moment mattered. Every decision was important. There was no room for carelessness. You understand that now? You've felt it. The weight of attention required to move through this place. The constant low-level alertness. The fire is burning down. Your guide says you should sleep. Tomorrow would be another long day. You nod and stand up. Your legs protesting. You're so tired that even the discomfort feels distant. You climb into your hammock and arrange the mosquito net. The fabric cocoons you separates you from the night. You can hear things moving out there, in the darkness beyond the dying fire. Things going about their business. Hunting and eating and trying not to be eaten. Your guide settles into his hammock. The fire collapses into embers, glowing red, then dimmer, then just ash with a few bright spots. The darkness closes in completely. You lie there, feeling the hammock sway slightly with your breathing. Your body is exhausted, but your mind takes longer to settle. It keeps replaying the day. The walking, the fishing, the taste of the cooked fish. Eventually, though, sleep comes. And this time you don't wake in the middle of the night. You sleep through, deep and dreamless. Your body finally getting the rest it desperately needs. When you wake, it's too light. Real light. Sunlight breaking through the canopy in actual beams. The clouds have cleared. You can see blue sky through the gaps in the leaves. It's the first time you've seen the sky in days. Your guide is already up, already moving. He sees you looking up and smiles. Good sign, he says. Clear sky means good, walking weather. You climb out of the hammock and your body feels different. Still sore, still tired, but less broken. The fish helped. The sleep helped. You take down your hammock and pack it away. The routine is automatic now. Your guide says you'll check the snares, then head toward the river. 2 days of walking, maybe 3. Depending on conditions. You nod. You're ready. Ready to move. Ready to start the journey back. You eat a quick breakfast of the remaining rice. Cold and sticky. You drink water, check your gear, make sure everything is secure, and then you're walking again, following your guide through the green maze, heading back the way you came, or closer to Italiano. It's hard to tell. Everything looks the same, but he knows. He always knows. You walk for an hour and reach the place where the snares were set. Your guide approaches carefully, checking each one. The first 3 are empty. The 4th has caught something. A small animal. Looks like a cross between a rabbit and a rodent. It's dead. The wire tight around its neck. Your guide removes it from the snare and resets the wire. Someone else might come through here. Might use this trail. The snare can stay. He puts the animal in his pack. More meat for later. You keep walking. The forest feels different today. Lighter somehow, even though it's just as dense. Poost is green. Maybe it's the sunlight. Maybe it's knowing you're heading back. Maybe you're just getting used to it. You walk steadily through the morning, and for the first time in days, you feel almost strong. Should I continue with the next part of the script? The walk back feels different from the walk-in. You're covering the same type of ground, the same endless green, the same mud and roots and insects, but somehow it feels less oppressive. Maybe because you know there's an endpoint now. The river, then a boat, then eventually walls, and a roof and a bed that doesn't sway. Your guide sets a steady pace. Not fast, but consistent. He's navigating by landmarks you can't see. A tree with a particular shape. A rock formation. The way the ground slopes. To you it all looks identical, but to him, it's a map written in green. You stop mid-morning at a huge tree. The trunk is so wide that if you and your guide both stretched your arms out, you still couldn't reach around it. The roots spread out like walls, creating little rooms between them. Your guide says this tree is old, maybe 300 years, maybe more. His grandfather showed him this tree when he was young. His grandfather's grandfather knew this tree. It's a landmark, a meeting place, a reference point. You put your hand on the bark. It's rough and warm and covered in moss. 300 years of standing here, of rain and sun and storms, the forest growing up around it, changing, while this tree remains. It makes you feel very small and very temporary. You rest in the space between two of the roots. The ground here is relatively dry, and the root wall blocks some of the view. Makes the space feel almost sheltered. Your guide pulls out the animal from this morning and skins it with his knife. Quick, practiced movements. The skin comes away, and he sets it aside. The meat underneath is dark red, liane. He'll cook it later, he says. For now it goes into a container. You eat some of the foraged greens while he works. They're getting old now, starting to break down, but they're still edible. You chew slowly, watching him clean the animal, portion it, pack it away. Nothing is wasted. The organs go into a separate container. The bones will be used for soup or broth. Even the skin might have a purpose, though you're not sure what. After the break, you keep walking. The afternoon heat builds, but it's not as suffocating as before. Maybe because there's a slight breeze today, just enough to move the air a little. Or maybe you're just acclimating your body, finally adjusting to the constant heat. You're sweating less. You realize, or sweating the same amount but noticing it less. Your guide points out things as you walk. A plant with medicinal properties, a tree that produces a sap used for waterproofing, animal tracks in the mud. Too old to identify the species, but fresh enough to show something passed through recently. He's teaching you, you realize, showing you how to read the forest. You won't retain most of it, but some of it sticks. The shape of certain leaves, the smell of a particular bark, the sound different birds make. You walk through the afternoon without stopping much. The forest opens up in places, thins out, and walking becomes easier. Your legs have found their rhythm again. Late in the day, you reach another stream, smaller than the one from before, but clear and fast-moving. Your guide says you'll camp here tonight. You're relieved to stop. Your body's holding up better today, but it's still tired, still carrying days' worth of accumulated fatigue. The routine of setting up camp is almost comforting now. String the ropes, hang the hammocks, check everything twice. Gather wood, build a fire, filter water, prepare food. Your guide cooks the meat from this morning. Over the fire. It takes a long time. The piece is small and needing to cook through. The smell is incredible, rich and smoky. While it cooks, you sit by the stream and take off your boots for the first time all day. Your socks are wet, and your feet are pale and wrinkled, like you've been in a bath too long. There are blisters on your heels, mostly healed over but still tender. Your toenails are bruised from days of your feet sliding forward in your boots on downhill sections. You dip your feet in the stream and the cold water feels shocking and wonderful. You sit there for a long time, just letting the water run over your feet, washing away the sweat and dirt. Your guide calls you back. The meat is ready. You dry your feet on your shirt and put your socks back on, your boots back on. Your feet protest, but they'll adjust. The meat is tough and gamey, but it's protein and fat and your body needs it desperately. You eat your portions slowly, chewing thoroughly. Your guide does the same. After dinner, you sit by the fire and the sky is visible through the canopy. Patches of dark blue turning to black. Stars are appearing. More stars than you ever see at home. A thick scatter of light. Your guide points out constellations, not the ones you know, but the ones his people use. Different patterns, different stories. A hunter, a fish, a canoe. The stories have been passed down for generations. The same stars watched by countless people in this same forest. The fire burns low. Your guide banks it carefully, spreading the coals, making sure nothing will flare up in the night. You climb into your hammock. The routine's so familiar now that you barely think about it. Nat tucked in pack secured nearby. Headlamp within reach. You lie there listening to the stream, to the night sounds of the forest. Frogs and insects and the occasional call of something larger, distant. Tomorrow you'll walk again, get closer to the river. One day closer to leaving the forest. But tonight, suspended in your hammock, surrounded by green darkness, you're still here, still in the heart of it. And despite everything, despite the discomfort and the fear and the exhaustion, there's something about it you'll miss. Not enough to want to stay, but enough to remember. You close your eyes and let the sounds of the forest carry you into sleep.